as regard to the chemical properties, what exactly is the chemical properties of ammonia? So before I chemical properties of ammonia, before I typically go into the chemical reactions, so first, all the 8 preparations we have touched, and 8 or 9 preparation whatever we have done, and along with that we also touched that how the drying of ammonia gas would be done. Next would be that how these are the chemical properties. So first I would like to address the fact that how detection of ammonia is done. Detection of ammonia is done is done. So one way of detecting it is just by inhaling it or touching it or tasting it, which I don't recommend because it is having a strong pungent smell. So this is one of the way to detect it, but it is not advisable. But since it is a colorless gas, it it can be detected very easily because it is having a very pungent smell, which I don't recommend. Second is it will turn litmus paper blue. Moist, I should write moist litmus paper blue. And this, you know that blue, if I say blue stands for basic, you can recall it like this, that anything which is basic tend to convert litmus paper blue. So this confirms that it is basic in nature. Basic in moist litmus paper. Moist, if you has some amount of water into it, ammonia dissolves in that water, becomes ammonium hydroxide, and then turns the litmus paper blue. Second is you can take this ammonia gas to ammonia gas when uh, treated with HCl. It forms white fumes of ammonium chloride, which we have already said in the preparation also somewhere, because the reverse reaction we have dealt with. Fourth, which is the most important one, fourth method is treat it with, this is one of the best method and very popular one, treating it with Nessler's reagent. Nessler's reagent. So what exactly is Nessler reagent is K2HgI4. So what you shall be treating it is, if you treat with Nessler reagent, this ammonia gas in the alkaline condition, 3 moles of KOH, it tend to form this sort of a complex, which we call it as NH2 HgOHgI. So this is a very popular complex which you should remember, and always this is quite important. I'm readdressing it once again. So you shall be requiring, I think, 2 moles of it. And now how many iodine you have? 8. One of the iodine get attached here, so you get 2. I'm doing along with you, so that you also could recall that how what was the stoichiometry. So if you treat it with 2, so you would get 7 Ki. 7 Ki. And one oxygen is already being used, so you are left with 2 oxygens, so 2 water would come out. So this is called as iodide of Milan base. This is very important compound, iodide of Milan base. And many books show it like this also, which is also a very popular uh, sort of a, let me show it once again, a structure which is, and this exactly would have, many books says it is having yellow brownish color or precipitates. So this is brownish or yellowish, and some book says it as orangish also, yellow, yellow brownish or orange brownish precipitates you would get. So what I was saying is that some of the books also would refer it like that, this would have this sort of a complex. But to me, the first one is a better one. Oh, sorry, iodide is there. So first one is better one. Here I am able to see a sort of angle strain. So any of these could be used. So this is a very popular one. So when you treat Nessler reagent with what you call it as ammonia, you end up getting brown precipitates, yellowish brown precipitates. So now let me go into the chemical properties. First chemical property would be uh, as a base, as a base. So as a base, ammonium hydroxide, ammonia when put into water, it simply changes to ammonium hydroxide, which is highly, not very highly ionizable, but it tend to give you a weak alkaline medium, so it is a weak base. So it is a weak base. So in case if you treat any of these, any of the reactions where ammonium hydroxide is being taken, that is nothing but ammonia itself. You can take it that way also. So what exactly would happen if you treat any of these reactions, say for example, ammonium hydroxide with HCl. So it is a simple acid base reaction. So you end up get ammonium chloride plus water, and ammonium hydroxide when treated with sulfuric acid, you would end up getting ammonium sulfate along with 2 moles of water. So simple acid base reaction would happen. So one way is that because it is providing me OH negative in the into the solution. So that is what you call it as a base. Then it may also be acting as a Lewis base type of a species. When I talk of Lewis base, so from coordination chemistry angle, this is also called as a strong ligand, or a strong ligand rather. And in the coordination chemistry, say for example, if cupric ions is being dissolved in ammonia, so or copper sulfate is put into ammonia, so what it shall be doing is that it will make a complex like this, showing that it's a good ligand. So it is having a deep blue color. So here it is acting more as a ligand, and anything which is ligand is also a Lewis base, that it has the tendency to give electron density to transition metal cation. So now the point is, now similarly, if I have, let's say, AgCl, AgCl is a precipitate solid, and if you put it into ammonia, so it got dissolved because it tend to form a complex like this and chloride. So it the precipitates which we get from AgCl can be easily dissolved with ammonia. So here also ammonia is acting as a, or you may say silver nitrate, ammonical silver nitrate. So this happens to be shown it like this at times, or it is shown it like this, ammonia, and then this is nitrate. So this is ammonical silver nitrate, which we ammonical silver nitrate, which we use in organic chemistry. Very popular common name is Tollin's reagent. So it is a test for detection of aldehydes and ketones, which we call it as silver mirror test. So that ammonia is also being used along with silver nitrate. So this is one of the, so here in all of these are acting as a weak base. And as a base, if I write also as a base, as a base, that is ammonium hydroxide, may be may be used may be used for precipitation of some cations as hydroxide, as not hydrolysis, as hydroxides. And for this, refer to what you call it as salt analysis. In the topic of salt analysis, group 2, group 3, and group 4 and group 5, in all of that ammonium hydroxide is being used, but all of them are not precipitated. Group 3 is, I think, group 3 is precipitated as hydroxide, others as group 4 as carbonates and so on. So the point is that in if, say for example, you have ferric chloride, or for that matter zinc sulfate, or you have some salts of aluminium or chromium. So if I simply would write that if you have Fe3 salt and if you treat it with ammonium hydroxide, so basically this got precipitated as these got precipitated. If you have, instead of this, if you have zinc also, zinc 2 positive, or for that matter aluminium 3 positive or chromium 3 positive, when all of these are treated with ammonium hydroxide, they have the tendency to precipitate them as hydroxides. So make it a point, aluminium hydroxide and so on. So this is very important, that as a base it is also used as an reagent for precipitating cations as their as their hydroxides. Now the next method or next chemical reaction is that this ammonia ammonia burn in air with with yellow, or with, I would say, with yellow flame. When taken to flame, it tend to give you yellow flame. So this is being endorsed in JD Lee book. So this, what exactly is the reaction? That 4 moles of ammonia when treated with oxygen, this I have covered in the topic of preparation of nitrogen gas also, that this would happen. So what you exactly be seeing here in this case, that here ammonia is going from -3 to 0, so it is acting as a reducing agent. But ammonia as such is not a very strong reducing agent, it's a weak reducing agent, not a very strong one, unlike the other hydrates of this family. So this is very important reaction. Then the fourth reaction is what you would use in the topic of Ostwald method. Ostwald method of making of nitric acid. In that, the first, it is exactly not used in the preparation of nitrate. It is used as a starting material, say. So this is a very popular one, 4546 reaction, which I always refer to as. This is a small trick or tip to remember that 4546 is a reaction name. So 4546, what exactly it is? 4 moles of ammonia, 5 moles of water, providing you 4 moles of NO, and sorry, 4 moles, sorry, I should have written it this way. 4 moles of, sorry, it would be 4 moles of ammonia and 5 moles of oxygen treated with, so you end up getting this water. So this is one of the starting material. Nitric oxide is the starting material. Then this nitric oxide is again treated with oxygen to form NO2. Then you can do the balancing, and then it is treated with water to form HNO3. So this is the entire process. But this, for particular reaction, the starting material is ammonia, and this ammonia actually had converted by different number of steps to change into nitric acid. So this also is a very important, uh, and this in fact is a use of ammonia, also a very popular use of ammonia. So this is the fourth method, fourth preparation. And now the fifth preparation would be, this ammonia is also used in a reaction with formaldehyde, reaction with formaldehyde. And this also is a very important reaction from organic chemistry. So in organic chemistry, if you have formaldehyde treated with ammonia, so you end up getting a compound which we call it as this one. This is called as hexamethylene tetramine. This also is called as a very popular compound of organic chemistry, urotropine. This is a medicine. Okay, first let me balance it out. What exactly we get here? 6, and you need be 4, so you end up getting 6 water. So this is what the compound is. This is used in a disease called gout, or medicine, use medicine for disease called gout or rheumatism. So it is a sort of disease which is uh, in which the bones and joints get affected. So for them, this is a very popular sort of a medicine. So there is a very important way also, that it is being asked from the organic chemistry point of view, what is the structure of it. So the 4 nitrogens are present at the corner of a tetrahedron, and these are attached to each other with CH2 bond. So for this, you also should refer to organic chemistry, LDH and ketones. This is a very popular one. And uh, and similarly, this is a very popular question, that unlike other ammonia derivatives like hydroxylamine, hydrazine, and so on, Aldehydes and ketones react differently with ammonia. Say for example, if you happen to do it with, instead of formaldehyde, you take acetaldehyde. So acetaldehyde reacts with ammonia to form a sort of a compound, nucleophilic addition with loss of water molecule, and you end up getting acetaldehyde acetaldehyde. So ammonia is quite frequently be used in different reactions in the organic chemistry. Say for example, but here in all of these it is differently reacting. Like say for example, if you have benzaldehyde being treated with ammonia, so this is ammonia, and this is a very important and popular reaction of organic chemistry, that you have taken 2 moles of ammonia, 2 moles of ammonia and 3 moles of formaldehyde, benzaldehyde. And now what I can be doing is, this water goes out, this water goes out, sorry, this water goes out, and from here the water goes out. So what you end up getting is 3 water goes out, and this compound is generated. So this particular compound of benzaldehyde with ammonia is called as hydrabenzamide. So all of these three have, formaldehyde gave urotropine, acetaldehyde gave what you call it as acetaldehyde, and benzaldehyde gave you, this is called as benzaldehyde. And similarly, if you talk of acetone, if treated with ammonia, this gives you diacetoneamine. So here what we have seeing is that ammonia react differently with aldehydes and ketones. Unlike any ammonia derivative, if you have any ammonia derivative, instead of here H, you have some group ammonia derivative. This tend to react it like this: nucleophilic addition with loss of water molecule. Every compound would come out with this sort of moiety, but unlike the case of the ammonia. So that is very important, and that is to be done in organic chemistry. Why is it happening that way? So that is very important to tell you. So these are some of the reactions which we have already done. So this was the reaction number 5, where it is reacting with some organic compounds. Now reaction number 6. Sixth reaction is reaction of ammonia with diborane, B2H6. This also is a very important reaction from P block group 13 also, diborane. So if you have B2H6 treated with ammonia, and if ammonia is in excess of ammonia, but the temperature is low, so you would end up getting a adduct. This sort of a adduct is formed because this is a Lewis acid, it is electron deficient, and this is electron rich, Lewis base. But if the situation is the same diborane and ammonia is treated, and ammonia is in excess of ammonia, but it is at high temperature, then instead of this you would get up BNX. This is called as boron nitrite, and this also is called as inorganic graphite. For this particular details of these reactions, you have to refer to the boron family video, for which is soon be uploaded. So, and similarly, if you treat it with same diborane and ammonia, and the ratio is 1 is to 2, if and at high temperature, it is perfectly stoichiometrically added 1 is to 2 ratio in the volume, then you end up getting B3N3H6. This is called as inorganic benzene. Inorganic benzene, and commonly called as borazine or borazole. So this is very important compounds of ammonia along with diborane, and this is what you should refer to. So let me add one page here. So what shall be writing here is, just hold on. So just see here what we getting here is, so the slide has gone down, so just hold on for a second. So these are the some of the compounds which you should focus on, that it would give you inorganic benzene. Is it okay? Now let me go into the, so the slide has just gone upward, so you should refer to it. So now if I go for the reaction number 8, is it so? The slide has little gone down, just hold on for a second. So we are on the reaction number 6. So reaction number 6, if I could place it, just hold on for a second. So I reached the same point. Okay. Okay. Now we are here only. So if I talk of this inorganic benzene, so you should be remembering, although this particular topic would come in the boron family, this is inorganic benzene. So you have having hydrogens along with it. So it is B3. So these are the hydrogens. So this is B3N3H6. So here nitrogen is having a lone pair and boron has a vacant d orbital, so there is a sort of coordinate bond formed. So what you end up getting is BH, a sort of nitrogen, H, boron, nitrogen, boron, sorry, this would be nitrogen, nitrogen, boron, nitrogen. So uh, a bonding of this type would happen, and this would have a positive charge and this would have a negative, positive, negative, if you want to show it in the form of charges. So unlike benzene, there would be some points where there would be negative and positive charges, unlike benzene where it is totally non-polar. Now coming on to the, so this was the reaction number 6th, if you could recall, this is 6th. Now we go on to the 7th one. So ammonia as a solvent, it is also used as a non-aqueous solvent for the dissolution of some of the metals. So ammonia as solvent, so if you treat it with sodium and put it into ammonia, say for example this way, ammonia as a liquid, so you end up getting a sort of, this got solvated, Na positive plus electron. So what happens is this gets solvated with ammonia, let's say X, and this also gets solvated with ammonia Y. So I shall be writing X plus Y. So sodium dissolves in liquid ammonia, and this electron which we get is a solvated or ammoniated electron. You can say this is what you call it as ammoniated electron. It is being solvated with ammonia. So this way sodium dissolves in liquid ammonia. So this solvated electron would be a cause of color. It is also the cause of conduction. The solution become conducting, and this also would be a cause of reducing nature. That sodium when dissolved in liquid ammonia is also a good reducing agent. So this is also a quite important color. So the color is intense blue or dark depending upon the quantity of ammonia solvated. So this is quite a important viewpoint which you should focus on. Now moving on to the next, that is the seventh, uh, eighth reaction. So as regard to eighth reaction is a quite a important one, that ammonia as a reducing agent. So ammonia is a, you can say, is a mild reducing agent. I may say this is a mild reducing agent and is a weak reducing agent compared to other hydrides of this family, other hydrides of this family. And as a matter of fact, you should remember that reducing nature or reducing power increases down the group in these hydrides. So now what I shall be focusing first on ammonia, that it is a weak reducing agent. So as a weak reducing agent, if ammonia is being treated with chlorine, so what shall you be getting is ammonium chloride along with nitrogen gas. So what has happened here is it is 8 and this would be 3. Yes, it would be 3 and this would be 6. I think it is perfectly balanced. So this here it is acting as it is going from -3 to 0 as well as -3. So it's a beautiful reaction to see into it in terms of n vector. So this is very important. So it is here acting as a reducing agent, and also it would act as a reducing agent if we directly treat it with cupric oxide, where it changes this into uh, uh, cupric oxide into copper plus nitrogen, and along with it what you would get is water. So you shall be requiring 3 moles of water, and this would be how many oxygen? 3, and this simply get reduced. So this goes from -3 to 0 and copper goes from +2 to 0. So it may act as a reducing agent. So as a reducing agent, there is also a very popular reaction which you should focus on, that that is the method which we call it as Rasjic method. This Rasjic method in fact is a preparation of hydrazine, preparation of hydrazine. So what exactly we do in this method is that ammonia is being treated with sodium hypochlorite. So this is the reaction which you should focus on. This is quite important. It is being asked in IIT Advanced also. So what exactly we do in this reaction is that ammonia first treated with sodium hypochlorite changes this into this part. This is called as chloroamine. This chloroamine then again reacts with ammonia to form hydrazine along with HCl, along with HCl. Now what exactly we do is that if we add them together, so you would get 2 ammonia and hypochlorite, sodium hypochlorite, and this would give you hydrazine along with NaCl plus water. So this is the viewpoint. This got cancelled if on addition. So the point is that this is very important to tell you that if you see this reaction in totality, so here it is in -3 and goes to -2. So basically what I'm saying is it is undergoing, it is acting as an reducing agent. -3 to -2 are, and this chlorine is going from +1 to -1. So this also is a very important simple redox reaction taking place. So here it is quite important to tell you that as soon as this hydrazine is being produced, it is to be taken out of the system. If it is not taken out of the system, what would happen? This hydrazine in itself start reacting with chloramine, with this reactant, if it is not being taken out of the system along with, and this then changes this into ammonium chloride and nitrogen gas. So this is very important to tell you. It got balanced, yes, because there's three hydro, okay, it is being balanced. So this is one of the preparation of nitrogen gas also is discussed in the topic of nitrogen family. So this particular hydrazine which I am talking of, this is the preparation where hydrazine, this is hydrazine is being prepared from ammonia. So this is very important. And this hydrazine, if I in a hurried manner if I tell you, this again is a quite a important, this hydrazine in fact is a reducing agent better reducing agent than ammonia. And as a virtue of it, it reduces KMNO4. It reduces KMNO4. How do you get to know it? I mean to say that it decolorizes KMNO4. It decolorizes KMNO4, and it decolorizes. It gives Fehling solution test also. Fehling solution. It turns it red, turns it red, and it can take iodate to iodine. So this also is quite an important one, that or you may consider these as to be cases where it is acting as a reducing agent, that it reduces the other thing. And as a matter of fact, this also you should also be remembering that it is a fuming liquid, just like hydrozoic acid. Hydrozoic acid is more, in fact, is shock sensitive. It is not that shock sensitive because it violently explodes hydrozoic acid, but it's a very good reducing agent, but a weaker reducing agent than the hydrozoic acid. And this also is used as a rocket fuel also. This also you should add into your knowledge bank. So this is a bit of detail of hydrazine. And hydrazine in fact is popularly used to prepare the nitrogen gas. For that you have to refer to the nitrogen video, where this hydrazine is being discussed in quite a good amount of detail. So now we are left with one last topic, that of the uses of ammonia. So I shall be starting with the first one, that 75% of production of ammonia across world is 75% of ammonia is used in the manufacture of fertilizers, which main I have discussed is the case of urea, where it is being pumped with carbon dioxide gas at high pressure and temperature to form ammonium carbamate, which on decomposition gives you urea. Second, it is being used, it is it is the starting material for making nitric acid by Ostwald process. For that I gave you a small tip, 4546 reaction. Name of the reaction was 4546. And this is also used as an starting material for the for the preparation of nylon 6 from caprolactam. So there the starting material is again used as an ammonia. Fourth, it is used for manufacture of this also we have just spoken about, urotropine. And fifth, the last but not the least one which I am recalling, is the fifth one is the case where it is used as an coolant or cooling liquid for refrigeration purposes, because its boiling point is minus 33.3 refrigerant. So let us do some questions based on this particular topic in a speedy way. So I have already written some questions. Regular use of which of the following compound as fertilizers increases the acidity of soil? So ammonia derivatives or ammonium salts are majorly being used as an fertilizer. So we need to see that where it is, which out of these would increase the acidity of the. So if I talk of um, um, any of these, if I have to see into it, so this is a neutral salt, K positive, NO3 negative. So if I talk of ammonium sulfate, when hydrolyzed basically would give you ammonia and sulfuric acid. So basically this is a acidic salt, so this tend to create lot of H positive into the water. So that is the reason why we shall be going for the answer number A, because urea as a hydrolysis would give you ammonia plus carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide escapes out, so would not make the solution so acidic. And lime, calcium hydroxide, calcium oxide, if happen to put into the soil and mix with water, it would make the solution alkaline. So the best out of the four options would be the A option. So going forward, if I happen to ask you one more question, that ammonia on reaction with sodium hypochlorite produces what? So this we have just discussed is the Resgic process. In the Resgic process, ammonia on reaction with hypochlorite happen to give you hydrazine. This we have just few minutes back, we have already done this reaction. So this is also quite a important one. So what, because since we have done this topic now, so you can recall it, but if in case this comes in the paper, in the final paper, then it would be a tough question to address that. At that point of time, I happen to see that people are not able to write even sodium hypochlorite, what is it. So sodium hypochlorite treated with ammonia gives you first chloramine, which we have spoken about, then it reduces that into hydrazine. So this gives you hydrazine. So this is quite important to remember. So if I happen to write the complete one is NaOH, something like that, this would happen. Another is the IIT advanced type of a question, which is more than one choice, which is more than one choice. A colorless salt on boiling with NaOH. So colorless salt happens to react with the NaOH, evolves a non-flammable gas. Uh, Non-flammable in, okay, let me first complete the question. The gas evolution ceases after some time, and upon addition of zinc to this solution, same gas is again being evolved. So this is a important viewpoint, which one out of this would be a colorless gas. Now, colorless salt. Now, all of these salts, now this is a tricky question, that all of these salts are ammonium salts, and all of the ammonium salts which we have spoken about, all of the ammonium salts react with alkali to form ammonia and water. This we have already spoken about. The preparation number first or second, there I have discussed any ammonium salt when treated with alkali happens to give you ammonia along with the water. So from that angle, every one of these could react. Now the tip to remember in this case is that what basically would be seen is that how good you are in understanding that is what about if I write the reaction completely, just hold on for a second. If I write the reaction completely for, let me start with the A option, ammonium nitrate when treated with NaOH, what I shall be getting is ammonia along with sodium nitrate plus water. Now um, this particular sodium nitrate which we get is sodium nitrate. This nitrate is in plus 5 oxidation state, and this happen to reduce zinc in presence of NaOH to give you sodium zincate. Balancing you can think of, and along with that there is a evolution of water, because nitric acid or nitrate is a very strong oxidizing agent which happen to r- oxidize zinc to sodium zincate along with it. So if I happen to write its balancing, I think it is 4, this is 7, and this would be 4, and this would be 2. So this got balanced. So this could be one of the answer. And the second answer would be, if I talk of sodium nitrite also, if it is being treated with NaOH, what shall you be getting? You would be getting ammonia along with sodium nitrite plus water. Now this sodium nitrite again is a strong oxidizing agent which can reduce zinc to give you in the presence of alkali the same thing, sodium zincate, only the stoichiometry of the reaction would be different, which you can do it yourself also. So basically what I'm telling you is that you have to understand, this is the question which I always shown in many of my earlier videos also in the topic of nitrogen, that this is a ammonium salt with a oxidizing anion, and this is a reducing anion. Cl is a reducing anion, although sulfur is in plus 6, but it has the tendency to not have the tendency that much as we see for the nitrates and nitrites. So the best out of the four options would be the A and B. If you treat it with A and B, nitrate or nitrite ion are strongly oxidizing in nature, and this oxidizing agent would reduce with oxidize this zinc and will evolve out nitrogen ammonia gas. But if in case you treat it with sulfate also is in plus 6 oxidation state, it also would want to come down, but it is not able to uh, generate ammonia out of it. It tend to generate a nitrogen, but to a very less amount. So best out of the four options would be the A and B option. Okay, so what we are left with? Okay, another one. So ammonium nitrate, if happen to be heated with mild heating, the products are, and if they happen to be heated with a strong heating, what would be the products? So you need to select the incorrect statement among the following. So first let me write the reaction and then we will see what could be the reaction. So first is ammonium nitrate, which we have already spoken a lot about it. That is, it's an oxidizing anion. So any ammonium salt with an oxidizing anion, whatever hydrogens are there, that will come out as water. So water along with N2O. So this is on heating. Now when I talk of strong heating, what exactly would happen is that ammonium nitrate, instead of 1 mole, 2 moles of it start taking part in the reaction, in the sense that it tend to gives you this thing. Just check it out, the reaction is perfectly balanced also. So what exactly you have done is this 2 moles if you have taken, so 2 moles of this would give you 2 moles of nitrogen and 1 mole of oxygen. That is what we have done, nothing else. So basically this further undergoes decomposition on strong heating. So one of the product is same in both reactions, that is same, that is water is same in both the reactions. So you can mark this is a correct one, but we have to select the incorrect statement. Reaction 2 would produce oxygen. What was the reaction 2? Strong heating, or yes, strong heating. So this in a way is a correct answer, but not a answer for this question. And reaction 1 produce nitrogen gas along with, no, this is a wrong statement. So all are incorrect statement, no. So what would be the right answer, which I marked it as cross? So this would be the right answer. So I hope that, I think, okay, now it is complete. So these are the some of the questions along with the discussion of ammonia. So I hope whatever discussion has been done, now you have to make a flow chart of it, on a A4 page. Just make a flow chart of whole of this discussion and put it and paste it on your study board or study table. So as soon as you see that, time and again you happen to recall whatever are the details of ammonia compound. So hope you have enjoyed this particular session. In case you get, if in case I am able to do some value addition into your knowledge bank, I would feel so delighted. And so in reciprocation, I would want you to share this details of this channel to everyone whosoever is interested in learning chemistry. So I'm trying my level best to make a community of chemistry loving people. So thanks a lot and hope to see you once again with a new topic very soon. Thanks a lot.